What's going on? Machanga here. So Apple introduced the iPad Pro as a laptop replacement or alternative. It truly became a legitimate option for a lot of people. If you're just getting your new iPad or if you want to learn how to get the most out of your investment, I hope you'll find some value in this video. We're going to cover a lot of the basics like primary functions of the iPad, including multitasking, plus some hidden things you might not know. If there's anything I mention or show that you have questions about, I'm happy to answer them down in the comments section. So let's dive in. Hopefully you've already set up your iPad with your Apple ID and you can jump right to the home screen with me. The iPad dock makes it super easy to manage your apps and place those high priority applications, shortcuts, and folders within quick reach from anywhere in the OS with just a swipe up from the bottom of the screen. If you're using a mouse or a trackpad, you can scroll down to the bottom of the screen to reveal the dock. I'm using the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, so Apple allows up to 15 apps to be placed in the dock at once. If you're using a smaller iPad, you can have up to 13. The vertical line here is a divider, and to the right of it are your 3 most recent apps that you've used or currently have open but haven't placed in the dock. If you don't want those apps shown there, go to Settings, Home Screen and Dock. You'll see the option to turn off suggested and recent apps in dock. I leave mine turned on though. With the introduction of iPadOS 14, widgets became a thing. Swipe right to bring up the widget section. You can use your finger or the Apple Pencil to do this. Long press anywhere in this section. This gives you the option to edit the area. If you want to keep your widgets on the home screen, click to turn it on. By default, it's turned off so the widgets can just be dismissed. While in this edit mode, you'll see a plus sign at the top left corner. This is how you add more widgets. You can drag and drop the widgets or click the Add Widget button. If you add widgets that are the same size, you can stack them. If you want to rearrange the order of how the stack widgets are shown, long press the stack to edit it. You'll also see the Smart Rotate button here. This function decides what information is most important in the stack and displays it. Once you exit edit mode, you can scroll through the stacked widgets. Long press a widget to access the settings if it has any. Not every widget will. A big part of multitasking as Apple defines it is using gestures in iPadOS. To enter the app switcher, quick press and swipe up from the bottom of the screen. If you're already in an app, you'll see this line or swipe indicator to make it a bit easier to see where to swipe from. While in this view, you can scroll through your recent and open apps. With an app on the screen, you can swipe right or left on the indicator to cycle through your open apps. We'll go into more detail about multitasking later in this video. To access the control center, swipe down from the top right edge of the screen. This is where you'll find some quick controls related to different settings. You can toggle them on or off with a tap or long press them to bring up more actions if there are any available. By default, there are only a few here, but you can go into Settings, then Control Center to add more. You'll quickly realize gestures make up a lot of the navigation in iPadOS. Swiping down from just about anywhere on the home screen will bring up the search. If you're connected to a hardware keyboard like the Magic Keyboard I'm using here, you can press Command Spacebar anywhere in iPadOS to bring up the search function. A lot of people use it to search for apps, but it can search for much more than that. You can search movies, TV shows, music, restaurants, ask questions, perform calculations, and access your shortcuts right in the search bar. If you want a more in-depth tutorial about shortcuts, let me know down in the comment section. So let's circle back to multitasking on the iPad. This is one of the most important features to learn and use if you want to be as productive as possible while working on an iPad. Split view is something you've probably used on your computer, of course by a different name. Putting your apps in split view can be accomplished in a few ways. First, with an app already open, quick swipe from the bottom of the screen to access the dock. From the dock, you can drag and drop the app of your choice to either side of the open app. Now you're in split view. A second way to do this is by typing the name of an app into search and grabbing it from there and again placing it to the left or the right of the open app. While you're in split view, you'll see the app divider between the two apps. You use this to adjust the size of both apps. If you swipe the divider all the way to one side of the screen, this closes the second app. There's another useful feature of multitasking called slide over. Instead of entering split view with 2 apps, you can bring an app from the dock and keep it in the windowed mode. This condensed window allows you to get information from the app, but also move it around and out of the way of your open full screen app. At the top of the windowed app, you'll see the indicator, and this allows you to move it around on the screen. You can swipe it all the way to the right to hide it, then swipe in from the right to bring it back on screen. If you've opened several apps using slide over, you'll be able to cycle through them using the swipe indicator here at the bottom. This behaves similar to switching between apps using the large indicator. You can swipe up on the indicator to view all of your open windowed apps at once. This is like a secondary app switcher view. You can easily go from slide over to split view by grabbing the top indicator and dragging down. You can also use slide over while in split view. Once you have your two apps in split view, swipe up from the bottom to bring up the dock. Then drag the third app on top of the app divider. Now you have 3 apps open on the screen. To take multitasking even further, some apps can take advantage of multiple windows. This allows you to have multiple instances of the same app open. A quick way to determine if an app has this multi-window capability is to long press it. You'll see the Show All Windows option in the pop-up menu if it's supported. This feature allows you to have different documents or information viewable in the same app. While in this App Expose view, you can tap the plus sign in the top right to add new windows or instances of that app. If you want to close any of the windows, just swipe up on it. If you close one by accident or you just want to reopen it, click the Reopen Close Window button to bring it back. If you have an app open on screen, then tap the app icon in the dock. You will automatically enter the multi-window mode. Pairing multiple instances of apps with split view means you can have the same app open in 2 different windows side by side. This allows you to type in one document while viewing or copying things from another without using a different app. You'll be able to see all your split view pairs in the main multitasking view or app switcher. There is no limit that I know of on how many of these coupled up app instances you can create, so feel free to make them until your heart is content. You might think you can only place apps and their windows into split view, but there's more to it than that. You can grab files, notes, notifications, photos, and tons more, then just drag them left or right of your open app. Speaking of files, the native Files application is really useful and it has more to offer than what you might initially think. In the Files app, on the left, you'll see favorites. If you want quick access to certain folders, either you created or the system created, you can drag those over to the favorites section. Tags are another way to label and organize your files. You can long press the file or folder, click tags, then you either choose one of the default tags or add a new tag. Once an item is tagged, you can click the corresponding tag on the left to view all the files or folders with that specific tag. Also, in the Files app, you'll find locations. This defines where files are stored. iCloud Drive is cloud storage, and On My iPad is local storage. But if you use third-party storage options like OneDrive and Dropbox, you can access those here too. Just click the 3 dots at the top, tap Edit Sidebar, and you'll get the option to turn on the other apps you want to access within Files. The On My iPad option is where you want to store those files or projects that you want to keep locally and not in the cloud. If I'm actively working on something, I'll keep it strictly on my iPad until it's complete. Once it's finished, I'll move it over to cloud storage so I don't unnecessarily fill up my local storage. Like I mentioned before, you can open this app up into split view and that'll make it easy to drag and drop files between cloud and local storage. You don't have to use split view though. Just long press a file or folder and drag it over to the storage option you want to use on the left. You can also tag your files this way. It's simple on a computer but pretty powerful on a tablet. You can even drag and drop content from other apps directly into files. I use this feature a lot on my laptop, so it's nice to have it here. At the top of the Files app, you'll see Recents or Recents and Shared Documents if you've shared any files from your iPad. Both folders are pretty self-explanatory. Recents shows all your recently added files and Shared Documents show all the files you've shared from this app. If we go back into the 3 dots here at the top, we get 3 options. First, there's Scan Documents. This is a quick and easy way to scan a document you want to save on your iPad. When you click it, the camera opens, it will automatically detect the physical document, you'll see the blue box, then you can either scan another document or just save it. The second option is Connect to Server. If you have a network drive, Plex server, or a different SMB server set up, you can use this to connect and access files in the Shared Network folder. I use this feature to connect to my Office server so I can move files and folders between my iPad and that desktop. If you need to consolidate some documents into a zip file, it's easy. Click Select in the upper right corner, select your files, click More in the lower right corner, then tap Compress. The new zip file will automatically be named archive.zip, but you can long press it and rename it if you like. If you want to unzip the file, once you long press it, you'll see the option to uncompress in the pop-up menu. Unlike in the past, The iPad supports external storage like hard drives, SSDs, and SD cards. It's pretty much plug and play for iPads that have a USB-C port like this iPad Pro, but if your iPad has the Lightning connector, there are several different adapters or dongles you can use to connect an external drive. Once your drive is connected, you'll be able to see it listed under Locations on the left side. It's not always obvious what you can and cannot do within certain applications, and that includes Apple's own productivity apps. Let's take a look at a few. The Notes app might seem basic, but it has some nice functionality that can help increase your productivity. You can quickly start a new list by clicking on the checkmark icon. This format is important because you can simply click the bubble next to items to mark them as complete. While in your note, tap the three dots at the top to access additional options. You can share the note with other people and give them either viewing only privileges or the ability to make changes to the note. If you have several notes you want to share, you can share the entire folder. Long pressing a note will give you a pop-up menu to quick actions like Pin Note and Lock Note. Locking a note is protecting it with a password. At this point, you've probably noticed the option to scan documents into the Notes app. Once scanned, you can long press the document to display it as small or large. When you're using this software keyboard on the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, it's full size. On the smaller iPads, it's slightly more compact. To access the special characters on the numbers row, all you have to do is swipe down on the key. Using the Magic Keyboard or any other physical keyboard, you have to press an additional key like Shift to access the symbols. If you want to get a smaller one-hand keyboard, you can pinch the keyboard to condense it. This allows you to use a keyboard similar to the one on the iPhone, and you can even swipe to type. Pinching out expands it again. There are a ton of keyboard settings you can adjust in the Settings app if you want to spend a little time with it. If you use the Reminders app, you can create lists for any task you're either working on or intend to work on. You'll notice several rows of icons you can use to label your list as well as color options. But you can also use emojis as icons. If you want to share your list with someone else, click the three dots at the top of your open list and you'll see the option to share it. Once you've shared the list, you can assign specific reminders to anyone you've shared with. If you assign any of the tasks to yourself or someone else shares a list with you, you'll see a smart list automatically populate to the left with the label Assigned to Me. In the details of a reminder, you can turn on the option to get a notification from the Reminder app when you're messaging a specific person. This is a super easy way to remember to complete certain tasks. You can even drag and drop one list onto another to create a group. This is especially helpful if the tasks in both lists are related. Even in apps you use every day, there's always something new to learn. When you're using Safari, you might have a bunch of tabs open. You can long press a tab to access a quick menu. There's an option to arrange tabs by title or by website. This is useful for helping tidy things up a bit. If you have several Safari windows open, tap and hold or long press the Windows icon and click Merge All Windows from the pop-up menu. This consolidates all the open windows into active tabs in Safari. Taking screenshots is extremely common, and the available markup tools built into Safari allow you to jot down notes on web pages, highlight any text and images, plus more. I especially like the ability to select either screen, which only saves what you see on the screen, or you can tap full screen. This full screen option will capture the entire page of content and allow you to scroll within the screenshot to view it. It'll be saved as a PDF to whatever location you choose. This is nice for referencing blog posts and articles, or a quick way to share it as an actual document instead of a photo. When you're watching a video on the iPad, you may have noticed this icon up in the corner. If you click on it, the video will enter picture-in-picture mode. This allows you to continue watching your video or movie while doing other things on the iPad. You can move the window around and resize it by pinching it in and out. If you want to hide it, just swipe it over into the edge of the screen. Now, I know not everyone will purchase the Apple Pencil, but it's a great tool for the iPad. Going back to the Notes app, you can add lines or grid by accessing the three dots at the top again. It helps give the impression of writing on paper. You can open the email app of your choice, hit compose, and in the body of the email, start writing. iPadOS will automatically convert your handwriting to text using a feature called Scribble. If you make a mistake while writing, you can scribble through it to erase it. From the lock screen, if you tap on the screen with the Apple Pencil, you can jot down some quick notes that'll be saved in the Notes app. A lesser known feature is if you swipe in from the bottom corner with the Apple Pencil, it'll take a screenshot. Whenever you're using the Apple Pencil to write or draw, you see some tools like pencil, eraser, and highlighter. If you click the plus sign, you can add some additional options. For me, the ability to create a signature that I can use to sign documents digitally is awesome. If you're using a second generation Apple Pencil like this one, you can double tap in the area near where your finger rests to switch between tools. You can change this in Apple Pencil settings, but I like to keep this double tap feature on switch between current tool and eraser. I'm using the Magic Keyboard, but this will work with any physical keyboard attached to the iPad. While you're in an app or just on the home screen, if you hold down the Command key, a list of keyboard shortcuts will pop up just in case you're not familiar with them. My keyboard doesn't have an escape key, so I use a modifier key. Go into Settings, General, click Keyboard, then Hardware Keyboard. You'll see the modifier keys. Here's where you can change the actions performed by each of the keys. I assigned Escape to the Option key. With mouse and trackpad support, we have a cursor, so you don't have to use your finger or the Apple Pencil for all the navigation. All the multitasking options I talked about earlier in this video can be done using either a mouse or trackpad, including split view and slide over. I probably mentioned this 100 times by now, but I almost always have the Magic Keyboard attached to my iPad Pro, so I primarily use that built-in trackpad. Using the trackpad means access to a number of gestures that simulate using your fingers on the screen. You can, of course, connect a third-party mouse and it'll work just fine. For those that really love working on the iPad and want to explore using it as a true laptop replacement, you can connect to an external display. This isn't something I use very often because of the 4:3 aspect ratio of the iPad, and I just prefer to have use of the full screen on my monitor. There are select apps that can take advantage of the full display, but you'll only figure that out by trial and error. If you have a keyboard and mouse paired to the iPad, you can close it like you would a traditional laptop and still have the screen displayed on the monitor. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this video, and I would love to hear from you in the comments section if you found this to be helpful at all. If you like this video and want to see more from me, hit the like button. If you haven't already and want to show your support, don't forget to subscribe and make sure you tap the bell icon so you'll be notified every time I post new content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.